Hello, welcome back to my channel. Anyway, so today, what shall we talk about today? It's almost like 6 p.m. right now. Uh, no, actually, it's 5. It's 5. It's not 6, it's 5. Um, I want to talk about taking it easy. I think that's been a very hard, I know like it's a repetitive topic for this year for sure, but I feel like it's important to take it easy, especially as we are entering the holiday season soon. And I think a lot of us is trying to rush into things and trying to finish off unfinished business for the year. But I think the most important thing to do is to take it easy and to kind of let go a lot of the controls that we probably manage to hold on to. But because control doesn't necessarily means good results. I remember like when I was traveling in, oh, what was it? I don't think it was. I think it was Oslo. Yeah, it was Norway, Oslo. And I was so adamant on booking only a room that was for two people. And I think my roommate was a bit fed up with me by this time, but I was just like, okay, I just wanted to have a booking for two people, and we ended up like booking for a whole room of like 16 people. Like so the capacity is for 16 people, and it was just the two of us, and it wasn't really nice. Like the bunk bed was really gross and it wasn't nice at all. And we were there for a few days, and after that we have to move to a four shared bedroom. So, and it's a co-ed too, so it's like a bedroom with four beds, and it's not only girls, it's like available for boys too. And I was really resistant, and I really didn't want to go into a co-ed, you know, room. But after we moved to the co-ed room, that was only available for four people, while the previous room, it was only the two of us, but the capacity was for 16 people. So there were 16 beds, and there was like eight bunk beds, because like, eight bunk beds, so that's 16 beds. And it was too big and it was uncomfortable and it was just annoying, but it was only the two of us because sort of privacy was there. But when we moved to the four people bedroom, even though we had to share it with men and boys, it was manageable and it was actually better. We got like our beds were just near the window, so we could open up the window and look out like straight out into the street. So it was like really good. And like our bed was like on the ground and we didn't have a bunk bed. Like the bunk bed was on the other side and the boys took those bunk beds. And of course like we had random men, but it didn't feel unsafe at all. It just felt as if that, yeah, it was just normal, and we just felt like it was okay. My travel mate was basically just saying, yeah, this feels really good. Like it was, this is better than the one that we just had when it was just the two of us. So I felt like at that time, I'm like, okay, this is probably a lesson of not trying to control things too much. Just go with the flow, just because the idea in my head was really bad, because the idea of sharing with men and sharing with other people was bad, doesn't mean that the actual experience was bad. The men that was we sharing our kind of bed with, our room with, were okay. Like none of them talked to us much. What the one person that did was very friendly, and he was like a really good traveler and stuff. Shared about his personal stuff, so there wasn't a lot of. We didn't have any incident whatsoever. It was pretty smooth sailing, and for most of the times it was storming, so we couldn't really get out much. The weather wasn't really cooperating back then. There was a lot of Australian, but because it doesn't matter if they were Australian, if as long as they're white, we can't connect. So I wasn't connecting with them, and I was still like high strung back then, so it was quite difficult to open up and talk to people without having like a full defensive mode on. So there was that too, and I think in Oslo you can't drink out. You can't take your drink out to the street or the lobby or something. There's a law about that. I forgot. So a lot of people just stay in and either drink in room. So that was that. I guess like that was a really good kind of practical experience about staying in, like letting go of control, letting just going with the flow. And even though the idea on paper might be bad, it probably not gonna be as bad as you think. And also because at that time it was also near December 2012, so it was also very near to the Christmas period. So there was a lot of like things being sold around there, and but it's really hard to walk around because it's the sun sets really quickly. Because like Oslo is very near to the North Pole, so the daylight is very short during winter hours. So it wasn't a lot of time that you can walk around while the light was on. And until I think people to kind of interact with, I wasn't social back then, so it wasn't. It was just an experience, I suppose. I think the experience would be very different if I go now. Maybe it's a little bit more upbeat, and I'm probably a lot more curious about stuff. And yeah, all I remember was we ate McDonald's, and it was like $10 or $15. And back then, I really like Australian dollars if you convert it. And I was like so shocked how expensive the McDonald was. And then now, of course, in 2024, 2025, um, 13 years later, I feel like, oh my God, the price, $15 Australian for McDonald's is so cheap because the minimum of a meal now is like $17, $18. And that's cheap. For Hungry Jacks, you have to go to the app and to see like what their deal was. If they have deals, it's cheaper. But if the regular prices are like $21, $23, $25 for like a large meal, so it's pretty expensive. In 2025, it's crazy. Anyway, I guess like taking it easy just feels like you don't have to keep going with what you think is true, what you think is going to solve your problem. I think going with the flow means you have an idea of what it feels like if your life is a lot easier or when things get resolved. But whatever is presented to you, I guess you just go with it because you might be resistance towards it, but you never know where it will lead you. It will probably lead you to a better place feeling wise, even though circumstances wise it's not going to be as you thought it would be. But I think it's worth it just to have an open mind and keeping on going and having that feeling. At least, even if it's not going to go well, it will go faster. And that's probably good. Because the thing that makes things slow and feel hellish is resistance, right? So if it's just like go of resistance and free fall, at least it will just like happens really fast and then you just have to move on. Um and yeah, I think you just have to let go of resistance. The faster it happens, the faster you move on and kind of just be done with something, especially if it's bad, if it's heavy, especially if it's heavy. You just have to let yourself fall splat on the floor and rest maybe a little bit and then pick yourself back up and move on. It's easier to say than do, of course, but if the ends is inevitable, might as well just embrace it because at the other end of an ending is usually a new beginning. And regardless whatever happened, I think it will be for the best. It'll be hard, but the new beginning will be better, I guess, than holding on to something that's already dead. And yeah, so that's my take about taking it easy. Hopefully, this Christmas holidays, the Christmas period will be great for you. I'll see you next week and take it easy, guys. Anyway, this is Valerie. I'm a solopreneur. Check out my links in my description box, and I will see you later. Bye, everyone.